Hello everyone, welcome to Simproved, Fry speaking here, and welcome to another time-lapse speed build video of a Sims 4 build. Today I'm going to build a longship, a shipyard, and a fishing hut for my little Viking Village project, which I started quite some time ago and never really finished, and I thought I will pick it up again after the long hiatus I did on YouTube. And here we go, guys. So this is partly build that I did half a year ago and just recently finished because, yeah, hiatus, not building in Sims and stuff. So first of all, for those who are new, I'm trying to convert Granite Falls into a Viking village so that your Sims can maybe one day experience a little time travel when they go on vacation to Granite Falls. And I also just recently got me the Create a World tool mod by Twisted Maxi, and I will try to turn this even more into a Viking inspired village. So yeah, if you want to see me do that and, you know, be part of the whole thing, write in the comments what kind of builds has to be in this village, of course. And we started with a meat hall, which I also have to overhaul again at one point. But yeah, the second lot next to the meat hall is also next to the water and next to the fishing spot. So for me, it was kind of clear we need a longboat and we need a fishing hut. So the longboat is made out of debug boats and lots of other things. The paddles are actually baseball bats. The shields are, I think, like wall-mounted things that you can put on the wall from the Get Together pack, and they have these little symbols from the different clubs that you could create in your game if you have the Get Together pack. And yeah, so basically I had, of course, to do a longboat myself. It's not functional, but I thought this would make sense because I really wanted to have something very Viking here. And also maybe later with the Create a World tool, I can put some into the water next to the slot, so it looks even more like kind of like a harbor situation going on there. But yeah, so the second build I did on this lot is the fishing hut. Keep in mind I did this half a year ago, so yeah, let's see if I can even talk about this. I can remember that for these Viking builds I tried to do them as, let's just say, by building them with the different staves and such and the poles, that they have the same layout with the, you know, heating hearth kind of situation in the middle, and that one has kind of like a roof chimney on top, which is, you know, the classic, I would say, setup for these Viking houses. Of course, I took lots and lots of liberties, and I'm definitely not an expert in all of the, you know, Viking architecture. Let's just say I looked at lots and lots of other games, you know, how they did that, and they also have some kind of very fantastical buildings. Let's just say, like, I can't imagine that this is how some Viking houses looked like back in the days. But yeah, we are going to do this the same here. It's going to have a Viking vibe, but since I'm not an archaeologist or anything like that, it was very hard for me to do my research and kind of figure out how these houses were built back in the days. And then, of course, we have the Sims 4 building restrictions, which basically for this slot made me quit building for a half year. Because the second house that I'm going to build there next to the fishing hut is going to be the shipyard, which I wanted to be like the woodworking station kind of thing. So for your handy Sims, they can level up their woodworking there. And I kind of thought this is kind of a good idea to have different houses dedicated to the skills that your Sims can have in base game. So fishing, woodworking, and then maybe I'm going to do like a little kind of farm situation as well for the gardening, for example. So yeah, that's the basic idea behind all of these buildings. And I just also thought for a village kind of makes sense that you have like specialized jobs, so to speak. And yeah, the shipyard is going to be on a diagonal, and building diagonally in The Sims is just like fully diagonally. Yeah, I think it's not supposed to be done fully diagonally. I think it's just like a kind of gimmick that you can do it partially in the Sims build mode. but there are still bugs from day one, literally day one. And yeah, that made me quit because I was like, why is nothing working in this game? But yeah, I finished it. So the fishing hut is basically also, it's gonna be have beds, right? Because I realize it's all retail for now. I hope that at some point I can, through the Create a World tool, turn this into a living situation. So it's like a normal non-destination world where your Sims can actually live. That would be really cool. But so far, of course, I need some beds in your Sims, to sleep, because in the meat hall we don't have that. Maybe I will at some point go back and revamp a little bit the inside of the meat hall so it's actually, has beds and stuff like that, so your Sims can live on this lot. The fishing hut was actually quite interesting because with the island living pack, we got so many Polynesian inspired fishing gear, I would say. And I could use this massively a lot here. Also, for these kinds of lots, I have to say it, Get Famous, even though I haven't really played with the whole gameplay there a lot, has all of these set decorations from the acting career, I guess. And they are very helpful with world building, in my opinion, here for these kinds of situations when it's not a normal American suburban house, so I always like to do stuff like that, to kind of see how different can I make a whole world in The Sims 4 with all of my builds, and then maybe also adding on into the world. For those who don't know, the Granite Falls world that I'm building here in is from the Outdoor Retreat gameplay pack. That is the first gameplay pack. If you want to buy this now, just so you know, I think there are so many other good gameplay packs for now. So I can't imagine that, people would buy this right away. I think they should overhaul Outdoor Retreat, to be honest, because so many of the extras that came with the first gameplay pack are now in base game, or like made better, or like implemented better through other expansion packs and stuff like that. So yeah, I think an overhaul would be nice, to be honest. And I also think destination worlds in general should not be a thing anymore. They all should be made into living worlds, because with the Jungle Adventures, for example, the Jungle Adventure world is a jungle and it's absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite worlds, but yeah, you can only vacation there. It's kind of sad. I really would like that to be, I think, more useful and like also used more by other Simmers, if you could live there with your Sims. So yeah, this was what you can see right here is my smoker. So they smoke their, I hope that's what it's called. They smoke their fish, so they can stay fresh longer and don't spoil. So that's my that's my smoker. It's not functional, but I just thought, because we have not so many kind of medieval, especially of course Viking stuff, so I have to be very creative and mix Polynesian carving from the island living pack. And I also Journey to Batu, by the way, is going to be used a lot, because some of these things are actually quite versatile, because they're just made out, kind of very plain, they're made out of wood and stuff like that. So I actually really like that. So yeah, some things are from so many different packs, because there's like 1 or 2 or 3 objects that kind of fit the whole medieval theme. And of course we have a little altar for the lionfish god. Blessed be his fin. I absolutely love this object, and for me this is like the god. I was also thinking maybe doing a stave church on one of these lots, and dedicated not to Jesus and Christianity, but of course the lionfish god. So yeah, that's the fishing hut. Basically it's lots and lots of objects there. We have like 4 corners with the beds, and then when I moved over to the diagonal part, yeah, it's starting to get frustrating, because I really wanted to have these poles and beam situations and kind of redo how Viking or northern old architecture was made, with like these poles and then beams, and then yeah, this is actually quite cool to look into that. But since I'm not an architect or anything like that. I just can copy stuff, how it looks like. But yeah, if you move with the free cam through it, you will see that it actually really has beams and stuff like that, even though in gameplay it doesn't make any, you can see it actually. But for me, it was important to implement that a little bit more. And yeah, so basically the shipyard was the thing where I thought, okay, your Sims can actually then do woodworking, right? So they have all of these woodworking stations that are in base game that look a little bit modern, but well, what can you do? And maybe they also built the ships there because there's, the longship on the bogged on, I don't know, like put on these stones there. And I, by the way, got this idea to do that here with the longboat, because my idea was they still are building on that. Of course, it makes no sense that it's already decorated with shields and stuff and loaded, but that's my freedom here. But the idea was to came through me playing Valheim again, and in Valheim sometimes you have these stones where originally these longboats rested on, that you can still find as kind of ruins, So I thought that's actually quite cool. We have stones, I have to think about how I can implement stuff like that in The Sims. So for me, that was actually quite interesting. And the whole beam and poles situation with the fireplace. For example, over every fireplace, there's no real roof. The only, gabled roof, that's the last one, so it doesn't rain into the fire. But there will also always be this shaft. So I deleted some of the ceilings there. So it's actually like, if it would be with fire, it would work, right? The smoke would go through this makeshift chimney kind of situation here. Which of course in The Sims is not necessary, but I thought, hey, I need this to be kind of at least a little bit like, the architecture back in the day. So that's what I'm trying to do here. If you think, why is she so obsessed with the beams in the middle and stuff like that, and the poles, what's going on there? But yeah, I also really love to have the campfires in the middle, because campfires are one of my most precious, I would say, gameplay building objects here, because your Sims can get warm if you have the seasons pack, right? Like they're your heating. And they can also cook there. I think if you don't catch fish or have anything in your inventory in the game, you can do veggie burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that. So that brings you out a little bit out of the immersion. But you have the fishing spot right next to it. And I just thought it kind of makes sense that you then could, cook your own fish that you caught there. If you really want to make this super immersive and no electricity and stuff like that. I haven't actually looked at the electricity bill. I haven't used any electronics, but sometimes some of the lights that look like candles are actually supposed to be electric candles, if you know what I mean, in the game. So they will generate an electric bill, which is, what can you do? But it's gonna look as medievally or even pre-medieval as possible. Also keep in mind that this is a bigger time span in Viking culture, right, or northern building culture. So for me it was kind of hard to figure out what I actually wanted to do. But I really like these A-frame houses, and I wanted to do something like that here too. I just thought it looks very Viking, that's like the typical layout or exterior look. So I really wanted to experiment with that as well here in The Sims. It's definitely possible, but in diagonals it's not so much. Like the diagonal gabled roofs are going to fry your game. So this one is gonna work. It's gonna load properly and everything. I've tested this multiple times before I started building again here on the slot, but now it's working. And I think I'm never going to do a fully diagonal again. Maybe just without roofs, like a flat modern house or something like that. But the gabled roofs are not your friend in this game, if they are not diagonal. And through the werewolf pack, we got so many wooden, logs and boards and stuff. And I thought, okay, they kind of look very, they could be used here as well. There is some sort of tarp over the boards, but I looked at the texture, and the texture is actually not that plasticky looking, so it could be also like a little bit of blue cloth maybe or so. So I thought, okay, we can use that here. Colors maybe a little bit too, out there. I kind of want to have it very toned down with the colors. The fishing hut actually is the most colorful build I did so far, just because the whole Solani, island living Polynesian stuff is of course very colorful, and the patterns are very colorful and stuff like that. But yeah, it was definitely very interesting to come up with some objects and how to stack them in one to each other to create this kind of Viking vibe. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to building like more stuff with that. It's definitely a little bit hard to do the interior design by furnishing this because, lots of stuff is kind of modern. For example, the woodworking bench has like these steel knobs and tools lying around and stuff like that. That's definitely modern, but it's the only thing you can do for woodworking as far as I know. Like, there are not other objects that would go for woodworking. So yeah, we have to make do with that station for now. And I also have lots of problems with the beds. Lots of the beds look super modern, or the frame of the bed is actually okay, I would say, but then the bedding comes in like this industrial super white pillowcase and stuff like that. So I think like what I'm really looking for doing these medieval builds, we definitely need lots and lots of new beds, like a single one, a big one, with maybe just hay, like really farming, not so expensive looking beds, if that makes any sense. And here in this shipyard, I also wanted to have a second story, but since this was on the diagonal, totally forgot that not only stairs can't be diagonal, the freaking ladders also can't be diagonal. So then the middle of everything, it's unfortunate, but at this point I was like, okay, this is it. I'm not going to do diagonal anymore. It's just so frustrating, honestly, the diagonal part. But yeah, what can you do? It kind of makes it a little bit more interesting if you see it that way, I also put some nautical themes in there, even though, it's not Viking to have the steering wheel there. Anyways, I was just like, yeah, let's just put it there. People will recognize it as this has to do something with boats. So yeah, I'm gonna put that there. I'm also gonna use lots of the Polynesian carving stuff, I just thought if you squint a little, it could be Viking, because we don't have anything with runes on it or so, not that I know of. And I think I know all the objects so far in the game itself. And yeah, it was actually quite fun to build this, honestly. And I'm definitely looking forward to building more of these Viking builds, to kind of make it look as a coherent village. So yeah, here are the screenshots if you want to build it yourself. It's up on the gallery if you want to download just directly. I will put the link in the video description as always. And here we are in the panning shots, so you guys all have a better look at everything. So here we go, guys. You can also see the meat hall on the left there, which is a huge build. And yeah, this is the lot that is absolutely right next to the fishing spot, to the entrance to the water, if you call it like that. And yeah, I think this is a good spot for a fishing hut. And I definitely had to revise this lot a couple of times to make this work and kind of make look how I would have liked it to look. But yeah, it's a little bit more fantasy Viking than, really accurate Viking architecture. So keep that in mind. But I've seen lots of playthrough of the Assassin's Creed Valhalla thing, and I think that lots For Honor, I think, has a Viking town as well, right? So I've looked at all of these buildings. I was like, yeah, this is definitely nothing that would have been built, I guess. Looks very fantasy. So we are here in a fantasy kind of world as well. So it's games. And I apologize, but yeah, we have some restrictions in The Sims 4 that definitely prevents us of building super accurately, right? This is not an architecture Blender kind of situation here. I would love that to be, but then all of the gameplay simmers will kill me if I say that. But yeah, I really hope that you like this build, guys. Please write me in the comments down below what I have to build for this Viking village, because I took some screenshots of your comments and I'm going through them, and I'm now thinking about what I'm gonna build next, to be honest. And yeah, you can definitely influence this. I've seen some really cool ideas how to do that and where to put them on which lot. So yeah, I'm looking forward to your ideas and comments, by the way. And yeah, this is basically it, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this little build here and part 2 of my Viking village. Please stay tuned and subscribe and, you know, like and stuff like that. Stuff that we YouTubers always have to say if you want to, you know, see how this whole Viking village comes to life over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you soon. Bye.